What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love After Lockup Season 5, Episode 38, Hide and Seek. Let's talk about True and Shonta. So, in last week's episode, True came down to see Shonta after she had told him that she was pregnant by him. And so he came down, I think they live like 5 hours apart. So he drove 5 hours to come and see her and to spend time with her, etc. And the night that he had arrived, after they had eaten and everything, Shonta told him that he was going to be sleeping in the living room on an air mattress or a futon. She told him, I don't want you to sleep in the same bed with me because you've been seeing other people and we're still trying to figure what's going on with us. And I don't know how I feel about you and all this and that. So when she said that, it was very obvious to me that there was no way that True was going to sleep on an air mattress in the living room. He was going to sleep in her room and in her bed. So the next day we find out that's exactly what happened, that they did share a bed together. And I keep thinking to myself, Shonta, how many more times are you going to allow this man to embarrass you? Because as soon as this man got out from prison, he broke up the engagement. He told you that he wanted to see other people. He went and saw other people. Okay. He went and saw other people and he broke your heart. You were in your car, crying and acting up because you felt like this man made you look like a damn fool after him coming out from prison and him breaking up with you. But you're going to let this man come and sleep in your bed. You're going to share a bed with him after he embarrassed you like that. So from there on, well, we find out that True has a child already. He has a 15-year-old son. True is like in his early 30s. So yeah, he was obviously, he had this child very young. He was talking about how when he went to prison, his son was, small enough where he can hold him in one hand. And now the boy is 15 years old. So that's interesting. Now, the next day, she has an ultrasound appointment and she tells True that she wants him to take her there, but she does not want him to be in the room with her. She doesn't want him in the building. And he's like, why can't I be with you when you're having your ultrasound? And she says something about how, she doesn't trust him because he's been seeing other people. And, their relationship right now is really shaky. They don't know exactly what they are to one another, where they're going, what they're doing with one another. So she's like, no, I just want to experience this by myself. When they get to the building for the ultrasound, she for sure enough left him out in the parking lot and went into the building by herself. Now, he wanted to be there. He wanted to participate. He wanted to see his babies, but she told him, no, I want to do this on my own. So she's in the ultrasound room, and I'm thinking we're about to see the babies. Next thing I know, the girl changed her mind, and she said that it just wasn't right to be there without True, that it felt really lonely to be there without True. But Shantae, he's out in the parking lot. Why don't you call him or text him and tell him to come inside? Like, why do you have to cancel the whole appointment? So she comes outside and she tells him that the ultrasound went well and that the babies are fine. But she tells us in her confessional that she doesn't need an ultrasound to let her know that the babies are fine. And I'm just like, you told this man a whole entire lie about having an ultrasound when you didn't have an ultrasound. All for what? Like, I'm not understanding because it's kind of coming off as if she's faking a pregnancy or she's faking about having twins because she's in the ultrasound room waiting to get this ultrasound done. And she talks about how it's just not right for her to get this done without True being there, that she felt lonely without him. But he's a hop, skip, and a jump away in the parking lot, and he has his phone with him. So just send him a text to come in, and then you lie about having the ultrasound. Like, I didn't understand at all. Now, we did see, I think it was in last week's episode when she broke the news to her best friend and her daughter that she was pregnant. She did show them an ultrasound. That maybe she really is pregnant with twins. I don't know. But one thing I do know, people can order ultrasounds online. They can order pregnancy tests online. It's a whole fake and fraudulent society that we live in. So I'm not her OBGYN. I'm not all up in her uterus to figure out exactly what's going on in there. But me as a viewer watching the show, it looked like she was faking her pregnancy because she didn't want him to be in the ultrasound. She lied to him about having an ultrasound. For what? You're the one that called this man and told him that you were pregnant with twins. That's what made him come down here to see you. And he told you he wants to be a part of that process. He wants to be there with you when you get the ultrasound done. But then you don't want him there. I mean, it's like you're hiding something. I don't know if you're hiding a fake pregnancy, or you're trying to hide the fact that you're not really having twins. I don't know what it is, but as a viewer, I'm not judging her character or anything like that. I'm just saying that me watching this show, it looked oddly suspicious. It didn't make any sense. Nothing that she did made any sense. Now, for all I know, maybe the show told her to lie. Maybe the show told her, hey, we're going to act like you're pregnant with twins, blah, blah, blah. Maybe True is also in on it. I have no idea. But if it's not concocted by the show, it's concocted by Shonta, and it just came off like she was faking a pregnancy. So after that, they go home. He meets her children, he meets her grandkids. They're all having like a family game night. Her best friend comes over, and her best friend begins to grill True about whether or not he's actually good enough, for Shonta. Can he really take care of her? Can he really provide for her and her children? And True was like, yes, I can do all of that. I don't know how he can do all of that, but that's what he said. And so the friend asked, do you even have a job? And True was like, yeah, I got a job. I work at the casino. Okay. Meaning he gambles. So then the friend said, well, are you going to be there for every single ultrasound? I'm like, best friend, how can he be there for every single ultrasound when he lives 5 hours away? He lives in a whole nother city. So how can he be there for every single ultrasound? That was a really odd question to me. So True says, well, I don't even know if I can be there for every single ultrasound because I may be going back to jail. Then he talks about how he violated his parole by not living at the address that he's paroled at. And so his PO wants to revoke the parole and have him either sent back to prison or put on house arrest. So he has a really important PO appointment coming up, and he really wants Shonta to be there with him. Now, Shonta was upset that they had spent the whole day together, and he didn't mention anything about this until the night before he's supposed to leave. And so she's like, so I got to scramble. I got to find somebody to watch my kids, blah, blah. No, you don't, Shonta. No, you don't. You don't got to do none of that. You can stay right there with your children, who should be your priority, instead of running 5 hours somewhere to be with this man for his damn PO appointment when he can do that on his own. Okay, he can do that on his own. It's his own freedom he's worried about. I'm pretty sure he's going to want to try to make his PO appointment. So I didn't understand why she felt the need to be there, because this got nothing to do with you, Shonta. Evidently, you want this man. You want this man really bad, that you're willing to jump hoops for him. You're willing to embarrass yourself for him, because y'all, for the life of me, I will not understand how a woman will allow a man to come sleep in her bed after he broke off the engagement. And after he said to her, I want to see other people as well, and I want you to be okay with that. We can still have our own thing going on, but I also want to see other people. And then you let him in your bed. That blows my mind. And you know that he was seeing other people because he told you he was seeing other people. Anyway, moving on. So the next day, they are driving to Cape Girard or whatever, the city that he lives in, where he is supposed to be paroled at, and it's a 5 hour drive. And they're taking two separate cars just in case he has to go to jail or whatever, and he can't leave the city, or he can't leave the jurisdiction, or whatever you want to call it, and she can still have a way back home. So they're taking two cars there. So he's driving ahead of her, and he's like miles and miles ahead of her. She's calling him, telling him, hey, can you slow down? I can't even see you. So he is, on the highway, flying down the highway, because True, like a typical F boy, he always got something going on. He always has a whole bunch of things going on, right? He can't just keep still. So as he is on his way to the hotel that he's going to be spending the night out with Shonta before his meeting with this parole officer, as he's on his way there, he decides to detour because he has to meet up with some girl. I'm not really sure who the girl was or why they were meeting up, but he goes off course with Shonta somewhere lagging behind. She has no idea. She's still on her way to the hotel. He goes off course to meet up with some chick, and the cameras were not there. The only camera that was available was the camera that was mounted inside the car that he was in. But there were no cameramen there to record anything because they probably had no idea that he was doing this. So he meets up with some girl somewhere, and it sounded like she was giving him something. Like I said, we don't see her, we just hear the audio. It sounds like she was giving him a coat or something. I don't know, an article of clothing. I have no idea. And it didn't make any sense. Like, why are you detouring to meet up with this girl? And she's only, I can't even tell you why I don't even know what was going on, so I can't speak too much on it. I don't know if the show wanted us to think that him and this girl had something going on, and he had to see her real quick for something or about something. I don't know if it was really innocent. I don't know what was going on, but it looked bad because you're with Shonta. She's turning her whole life upside down for you to go be with you for this PO meeting. And here you are meeting up with some other chick. And if it really was innocent, he could have just told Shonta, hey, on our way there, I'm going to meet up with my homegirl for, whatever, ABCD. But instead, no, he's doing this all behind her back. She has no clue. She is none the wiser. She thinks that they're both going in the same direction to the hotel. Well, she gets to the hotel. He arrives at the hotel just in the nick of time, and she has no idea what just went down. So once again, this guy is making her look like a damn fool, and she's absolutely loving it. She's eating it up. So that is True and Shonta. Her nose, like I said before, her nose is wide open for this man. Anything he says, she'll do, and she does. Because I think in Shonta's mind, she probably feels like she cannot do any better than True, which she most definitely can. I don't know what it is about this guy that's got her so sprung, because this man isn't really like taking care of her and providing for her and caring for her and loving her the way that she deserves. There's all these rumblings going on online and all of these different social media platforms about his other women. He's been seeing other people the whole entire time, etc. All these women are coming out talking about how they have relationships with True, that they're with True, that they're True's real girlfriend. All this mess going on. And Shonta, you're looking like a whole fool. You are a grandmother at the tender age of 35. You are a grandmother. So you have your kids generation, your grandkids generation looking up to you, and here you are just absolutely making the wrong decisions for yourself and not being the best example for your children and grandchildren. Moving on to Troy and Zoriah. Okay, so Troy and Zoriah. Troy's mother, Karen, her mission in life is just to embarrass the hell out of Zoriah, because I saw no point in Karen mentioning the fact that Zoriah had cheated on Troy while Troy was still incarcerated. I saw no reason for her bringing that up. So there's a lot of confusion. Whenever Troy and Zoriah come on, when their segment comes on, it's a lot of confusion to me. It's really hard to follow what the hell is going on, because Yana, the mother of Troy's daughter, she's playing a part in this drama that's unfolding, but we don't see her. Her input is being presented through Karen, who's talking to her on the phone. So remember, Troy was supposed to go see his daughter, and Zoriah was supposed to come with him. But Zoriah got upset because Troy was talking to the mother of his daughter. I'm assuming they're having conversations, making arrangements for him seeing his child. That's what I'm assuming, that why they were talking. So Zoriah gets upset about that. She doesn't want to go anymore. She's changed her mind. She doesn't want to go. So Troy is upset about that because he was really looking forward to seeing his daughter. And according to Troy, the little girl was also looking forward to meeting Zoriah. Zoriah didn't give a damn. She's like, I'm not going because you're talking to your ex. So Troy leaves to go take a walk, and back at the apartment, Zoriah comes back and she is in her bedroom with the door closed. I mean, you're on a TV show. We're trying to film a segment here and you're locked up in your room. And so then Karen, Troy's mom, she's on the phone with Yana. She claims she can't stand Yana. She claims that, she hates Yana and that Yana really isn't a part of their family. Only the child is. But she sure is, confiding in Yana a lot on this show. So she's on the phone with Yana, and supposedly, according to Karen, she wants to make it look like Yana just told her that Zoriah had cheated on Troy while he was still incarcerated. Well, Zariah hears this, and through the bedroom door, she just starts screaming and yelling at Karen, saying that this is old news. You're not revealing anything new. I cheated on Troy, and I confessed to Troy. So me and Troy, we talked about it. We moved forward. Why are you bringing this back up? Through the door. She's not coming out. So then Troy comes back home. He walks inside. He hears all this commotion. He hears Zariah yelling, his mother yelling. And he's trying to talk to Zariah. He's knocking on the door. She's telling him to leave. She says, I need you to go. She opens the door. She throws her ring at him, slams the door in his face, and tells him just to go away. He doesn't want to go away. He wants to talk to his wife. So then she opens the door again and she lets him in. And then all of a sudden, you just hear her screaming at the top of her lungs. Now, why is your mom talking about me cheating on you? Me and you, we've already moved past that. We talked about that. Why is she bringing this up again, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, screaming, straining every single last one of her vocal cords. And so I'm like, why is she yelling at him? What did he do wrong? I mean, it seems like he's the victim in all of this. The poor guy was locked up while his wife was cheating on him. She said that she got lonely or whatever, so she started cheating on him. And it's his mother that spilled the beans on his wife being unfaithful. So why is she yelling at him? I didn't understand why he was getting the brunt of all of this when she should have been confronting the mother. Like, why are you bringing this up now when everybody's moved past this? So evidently to me, it seemed like Karen is just out to tarnish Zariah's reputation. And Zariah, I'm not sure why you're not confronting. If you want to confront somebody, confront Karen. I don't know why you're yelling at your husband. So that whole thing was a whole mess. Zariah seems completely unhinged and maybe even a little bit unstable. I'm not really sure what's going on here. You would think that, well, anyways. So I was highly confused about what was going on, but it is true that she did cheat on him, but it's old news. Her and Troy talked about it. Troy knew all about it, and supposedly, allegedly, they have moved past it. So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure why Karen did what she did if it wasn't just to embarrass the hell out of her daughter-in-law because she don't like her. Moving on to Julian and Christine. Okay. Julian and Christine, let me just get some miscellaneous stuff out the way. Christine got a job. Julian lost his job. And Christine has no idea that Julian lost his job. So their whole segment centered around whether or not he was going to tell Christine the news that he lost his job. Every day he's been waking up, putting on work clothes, acting like he's going to the office, but he's not. He got laid off like 2 weeks prior. So for 2 whole weeks, he's been lying to Christine. And so he's worried about that. Also, Christine has been giving him the blues about having to hide whenever his children come over. Now, the ex-wife did a whole lot of digging and she found out about Christine, found out about her criminal past, but doesn't know that Christine is actually living there with Julian. And so Julian wants to keep this information from his ex-wife because it seems like if his ex-wife found out that Christine, a whole felon who was out there robbing banks, is living in Julian's home, she would probably try to prevent the kids from going there or not allow him to keep his kids. So he has to keep that top secret. Christine is like, I'm tired of hiding. This is my house too. I live here as well, and I don't want to be forced to be made uncomfortable in my own home. So I'm tired of hiding. Julian doesn't give a damn. He has a lot to lose if the ex-wife finds out that she's living there. That's what I'm assuming. I don't think it's because he wants to get back with his ex-wife or they're trying to reconcile. I don't think it has anything to do with that because the ex-wife knows about Christine, but just doesn't know that Christine lives there. So Julian he's not willing to budge on that. And so he leaves and he acts like he's going to work, but he's not. He's just driving to a parking lot to conduct a job interview. So we see Christine. She's at her job. She works in a bar, and she's talking to her coworkers and telling her coworkers that she wants to be a stand-up comic. And I'm like, where the hell is this coming from? So evidently, she wants to be a stand-up comic. After work, her coworkers invite her to go out for drinks. Julian comes to pick her up, and so she tells Julian, "Hey, let's go out with my coworkers, for a couple of drinks." Julian tells her, "Oh no, I gotta go home because I have an interview in the morning." He so-called accidentally lets that slip that he had this interview. So Christina's like, what do you mean an interview? An interview for what? So then he finally tells her that he got laid off and he's been laid off for 2 weeks. Now this is where to me the scene began to unravel because it looked really fake when she reacted and she says to him, what do you mean you lost your job? Why didn't you tell me? Like the way she said it to me, it was just really drawn out and really phony sounding, like really fake and phony. So the whole scene to me was fake and forced and scripted, and like I wasn't vibing with it at all. So whatever. Christine finds out that Julian has lost his job and he's been laid off. Now he says to us that he has about 2 months worth of severance pay left. After that's depleted, he's not going to be able to pay rent. So he doesn't know what the hell they're going to do. And maybe this is the reason why they were shoplifting from Walmart. Maybe because they were broke and hungry and destitute. That's why he was stealing from Walmart. Who the hell knows? Moving on to Joey and Kim. So when we see Joey and Kim, Joey is in full daddy mode. He is getting the kids ready for school in the morning. He's doing the pickup and the drop off. He is in full daddy mode. Now, the only issue that Kim has with Joey is that he's an overspender. He spends a lot of money, and it's not even his money to spend. It's her money. She's a single mom with 2 kids with probably, limited income, and he's just running through her money. And so she's like sick and tired of it. So she tells him, look, you need to slow down on the spending. Okay, so Kim, why don't you slow down on giving him your card? But anyway, he needs new tires for this new car that she bought him. I'm pretty sure it's used. It's new to him. Whatever. He needs new tires. So she tells him $500 is your limit. And she gives him the debit card, which she should have just given him. Like, don't people plan out this stuff? Like, if you know your dude has a problem spending money, then why don't you go get the cash to make sure that he doesn't go over the limit? Go get the cash and say, okay, this should be enough for 4 tires. So then he's, limited to just that amount. But no, she gives him her whole entire bank card. And what did he do? The obvious. He went buck wild with it. So instead of just getting tires, he wanted to get rims. So everything together cost $2,200. His limit was $500. He spent $2,200. And he did it without blinking an eye, without giving it a thought. While he's at the dealership, not the dealership, while he's at the tire shop, his ex is blowing him up, and he's like pretending to ignore her. And so his buddies are there with him at the tire shop, and he's showing them his phone. He's like, oh, look at her. She's constantly texting me. She wants to get back with me, blah, 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 blah. One of his homeboys tells us that the only reason why the ex is even blowing him up like that is because Joey is leading her on. Joey must be telling the ex something to make her think that they have a possibility or they have a chance of reconciling. So, the homeboy was putting us up on game that, look, don't sit here and let this man fool you and make you think that this woman just popped up out of the blue and is begging him back. No, he is leading her on. He's feeding her little crumbs to make her think that there's hope for them. Okay, moving on from there. So now it's time for him to face the music. So Kim comes home and she sees that he has spent $2,200 on tires and rims. And so she like goes off on him. Like, how can you do this? I told you the limit was 500. He tells her, I just wanted to treat myself. I wanted to do something for myself. But yeah, you're doing something for yourself on somebody else's dime. And this somebody else had given you a limit. I mean, this is almost like what do they call it? Not larceny. Is it like larceny? Where you have permission to use the funds, but you took advantage of it, right? You spent more than what you were supposed to, or misappropriation, or whatever they call it. So she gets on him about, I can't believe you did this. We have a wedding to plan, we have an engagement party to plan, and you're just running through money. And he says, you have an engagement party to plan and you have a wedding to plan. I don't have an issue going to the courthouse. So all this extra stuff that you're talking about, the engagement party, the wedding gown, all this other, that's on you. That's your decision. You're making, okay, but you're spending her money. You're spending the money that she's going to use for these things. And she can do whatever the hell she wants to do with her money. True. You're right. This is all her doing, all her idea, all her planning. And this is also all her money, Joey. You can't do that. Everybody knows that. Like, this is stupid to even talk about because it's like so blatantly wrong. So he didn't give a damn. He wasn't like, oh, I'm so sorry, I lost control, or I really wanted these rims, I'll pay you back. I was waiting to hear those words. Don't worry, Kim, I'll pay you back. Nothing. He's just like, hey, I wanted to treat myself on your dime. Kim, he's a user. Leave him. He's a user. He's just using you. Okay, he knows that you've got kids to feed. You got small kids to take care of. And he just, spent this money like it was nothing. He didn't give it a second thought. He didn't hesitate. He didn't like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. Okay, I can't just do, maybe instead of getting the 20s, the $1,700 rims, let me get the $800 rims. No, he didn't give a damn. So he's just using you, girl. He's just using you. Hope and Arthur. So Hope and Arthur go to a mosque. Arthur grew up in the Islamic faith, and he wanted to reconnect with his religion because being in prison, he kind of strayed. So they're in the mosque, and he's telling the imam how when he was in prison, he kind of drifted away from his beliefs. And so the imam tells him, hey, don't worry, you can always come back. You know, we'll accept you with open arms, no questions asked. So while Arthur is talking to the imam, Hope goes off to talk to the imam's wife. And so they're having a conversation about religion and whatnot. And the imam's wife tells Hope that in their faith, the man is the provider. Even if the woman makes her own money, the man cannot touch her money because it's sort of like shameful for a man to use his woman's money or to allow a woman to spend her money on him. So the man is always going to be the one to provide for both of them. So, of course, Hope takes this to heart because the next time that we see Hope and Arthur, she brings that up. And she's like, well, you know, in the faith that you're trying to reconnect with, in your religion that you're trying to reestablish yourself with, there's also a belief that the man is the provider. So when are you going to take that part of your religion and put it into play? You know, when are you going to start providing for us? And he's like, well, Hope, I've been out there hitting the pavement, putting out applications. So he tells us in his confessional that he submitted like over 100 applications and barely got a response from anybody. So she tells him, well, you need to keep me up to date with what's going on. I need to know where you're applying or whatever she said. And he was like, I know you're not trying to micromanage me because if that's where this is going, I'm going to get pissed off. So then she brings up their relationship and she's like, well, when are we going to get engaged? And he's like, we're already engaged. And she's like, we are? He's like, yeah, we've been engaged ever since I was in prison. I don't know how he proposed to her. I don't know if he proposed to her through a video call or what, or he sent her a letter, a note. I don't know how he proposed to her, but according to Arthur, they're engaged. And she's like, well, I kind of wanted an official proposal to kind of make everything, you know, official between us. Like you get down on one knee, present me with the ring, ask me to marry you. He's like, yeah, I'm not on that. I'm not on that vibe. Not at all. He's like, no, I've already proposed. You accept it. We're engaged. And she says to him, but you did this to your ex. You had proposed to her. You know, you got down on one knee for her. And he's like, well, I already told you, Hope, that that whole relationship was fake or whatever he said. It was fraudulent. I don't know what he said. It was a fake relationship. So that doesn't count for nothing. And so she wants an official proposal. Now he tells her, I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. But in his confessional, he tells us the real deal Holyfield. He says, I don't even know if I want to marry her because of her being with other dudes while I was in prison, her not wanting to introduce me to her family, et cetera, et cetera. So he has a litany of reasons of why. So that to me, it seems like with Arthur, he's always had an issue with Hope being with other men while he was in prison. Because Matt, that's probably why he didn't get the tattoo of her name, why he's not going to want to do an official proposal with her, having second thoughts about marrying her, because he probably was like, I don't even know why I would want to be with a girl like this when she was seeing other dudes while I was in prison. I'm thinking he is not over that. And because he doesn't talk about his feelings, he won't tell her, you know what, I'm not really sure about this because I can't get over the fact that you were seeing other dudes while I was in prison. I think that's really what's bothering Arthur. He's never really gotten over it, even though he acts like he has, but that's still kind of like really like bothering him inside that she was with other people. Anywho, that is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.